start it. Let's
get it.
Welcome to Living with Dan and Danny.
Living with Dan and Danny.
New name, new Dan, new Danny.
The Dan and Danny Show.
What's up, man? How you been?
Been great, man. It's been, 2-3 years, maybe?
Has it?
It had to be pre-pandemic. Dang. Pandemic was 2020.
I feel like so long ago.
It does. Like, it's not even that long. Nah, 3 years a long time. 3 years a long.
Why you holding the mic like that, though?
Why you worry about how my posture? Why you sitting like that? Like, I'm not approaching you about your podcast etiquette. Why are you approaching me about my podcast etiquette?
Hey, man.
Come on, man.
But we back. Long story short,
we're
back. I think it's important to start the season, giving the fans some context and background of why we're back.
Yeah.
And, what's changed in our lives.
For me, it was time. I think there was a moment during those 3 years I was like, I don't know if we'll ever be back. And honestly, I don't think I care if we're not back.
Yeah.
Like, does it matter? Is this a thing? Because a lot of stuff is a moment in time, and maybe that moment in time has passed.
Yeah.
But one of those things I didn't want to do is, one, just give on it just because, wash your hands up. But two, I just didn't want to jump back in it just because.
Right.
And for me, I think it started with a conversation we were having, and you probably just said it in just like, let's do the pod or something like that. I was like, man, you know what? Why not?
Right.
Why not? Like, I think as we're growing into men, you realize in adulthood, you just got to prioritize.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to try something, you can't make time be an excuse for not trying it or not doing it. And for me, it's like, let's give it one more shot. Let's give it all we got, and let's see what happens.
Facts. And if you're watching, you'll see we doing things different, man. New setup, new equipment. We probably sounding real crispy right now.
We better sound real crispy. Shout out to our engineer. You know what I'm saying? We see you.
But yeah, man, I think I didn't realize it'd been that long, but I think we were doing so much at the time where I know personally myself, I just got like burnt out for a bit.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people experienced that during COVID, and now having to look back on that time, refresh, live a little bit. A lot has changed now that I feel like we can add more value to the people that were, really listening to us and learning with us as we were growing. So I think it's all about how can we provide more value? How can we do things better? And I feel like we needed to take some time off to get to that point.
Yeah, anytime I was down, and this happened before the break, anytime we were taking breaks during seasons, I was just like, yo, musicians do this all the time. They don't do albums year after year after year. Sometimes they take a break. Look at Kendrick, look at Cole, look at, Drake, whoever, like, you name them, they take breaks. Your favorite TV series, they take breaks. Like, it's not
Facts.
Like, oh, we're over because we haven't recorded in a year or 2 or 3. Like, takes time.
Right.
Like, if I'm a director for a movie, I'm doing a part 2, I have to sit there, write it, I have to plan it, I have to figure it out. And that's all it was. And just speaking to the burnt out, like, I moved, a lot of people don't know, but this podcast was a product of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and a product of Charlotte, North Carolina. So he would come to Fayetteville from Charlotte. I would come to Charlotte from Fayetteville. In 2020, I moved to Charlotte. So in my mind, this is going to be so much smoother, so much easier. We're going to have all these guests, all these things. And it didn't hit me that one, okay, it's the pandemic, but I wasn't deterred. It was like it was in the middle of like, okay, we all might die. Okay, we're not going to die. So it's like, it was in that weird stage. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, we can pick it back up. And we were doing it. And then again, life's changed for me personally. Yeah. My family moved up here with me. So I moved up here in the end of 2020. I had a girl and 2 kids. They were in Fayetteville still. I wanted to get my legs underneath me before they came up here. And then they came, I think, April 2021. And then so now you got to factor, okay, I got a new job. I'm in a new city with my woman. Kids are in daycare. It's like, how do I make time to record a pod on the weekend and take them to the park?
And give time to your relationship and give time to yourself. Yeah, man.
Yep. So all that, I'm like, excuse me, is not worth it right now. It's a lot of stress. Relations. I mean, last time y'all saw us, we weren't single, but we were both either about to get in relationships or we're newly in relationships, like, or relatively, you know. Yeah. You don't got to talk about
I think
dating.
I was still single at the time. I'm pretty sure I was. I think so.
You were close. Either way, we were both adjusting to our lives from living single with Danny and Danny to living with Danny and Danny. We're just adjusting, you know, and, you know, it's a lot of maturity. Stay tuned for more episodes. We're going to dive deeper into those topics. But it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. So what was your biggest inspiration in returning or bringing it back?
I think just showing my maturation, one, as a man.
That's a big word.
Two, I think I've gained new perspectives on life through experience that I think were valuable enough to share. Yeah. And I feel like we had a good enough audience and supporters where, like, I don't really care about, you know, making money and all of that at this point. You know, that'd be great. Eventually, you know, the goals.
Support the pod, Patreon, follow us subscribe on YouTube,
for sure,
all that.
But I more so just wanted to provide value. Like, I went from whole phase Danny season 1. I mean, water test, crazy.
Water test on you hoes.
Trademark pending on the water test, because that is a brilliant test, brothers. Go back to season 1 and listen.
I was giving everybody the water test.
Listen. If she don't pass the water test, you know what to do. But to go from that to now, I'm engaged with a daughter. My whole perspective on women, on life, on relationships have changed, and I'm living for people other than me now. So it's like,
I got some questions for you.
Yeah, that I feel like it's a lot of men that don't shit. We don't see these conversations had by, you know, the family man, the committed man, and the struggles that we go through.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and for me, it's the same. I feel like I have so much added value. Like, relationships are so much work. As I'm growing as a man, I realize everything's literally work.
Yeah,
you want to work and advance in your career in corporate America. You got to work hard. Yeah. You want to have your own job, be an entrepreneur, you got to work hard.
Harder than that.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be in a relationship, you got to work. Literally nothing. I can't think of anything that's easy in life outside of being nice at 2K, because it just comes natural for me. And even that, I got to work hard to learn some dribble moves because everybody figuring me out. So, no, everything is difficult and challenging. And that's the one thing I tip my hat off to Jasmine. Shout out to my beautiful, lovely woman.
Shout out to Queen.
She always challenged me, and then as I look back at it, like the first 2 years, year and a half or so, it was just so worth. But I was being me. I wasn't whole face Dan or nothing, but I was stubborn, do what I want then, say what I want then, act how I want then, and she just, you know, locked in. It was like, you know, if we locked in, ain't no switching up. So
maybe we'll get into that later in the season, but I think we should dive into like that topic of when does that become compromise and change who you are versus accept who you are with your partner, because I feel like that's a very thin line, and people often continue to be in relationships or try to change people when it's like, oh, maybe we're just not meant to be.
I think a lot of this stuff too, you don't figure it out until you're in the moment.
Yeah,
it's not even if there's a book say you have to do it this way, in order to do it that way, you have to be in a relationship to do it. Yeah. Like, so that is the one thing I'm learning, like, outside of it not being the movies, outside of it not being a television show or a fairy tale book, it's just like reality. Everybody has different perspectives. They're raised different ways. They have different traumas they have to go through, and you're doing that with another person.
Yeah.
I think that is like, it's not enough emphasis put on that. That other person has a whole brain, a whole heart that operates completely different than yours. Like, it's so insane. But when you break it down, like, okay, even with that, you care about me? You want to be here every single day?
Facts.
Okay, well, maybe I can alter my brain a little bit on my emotions a little bit, since you doing this for me, and vice versa. Yeah. That's the only way it's going to work, being equally yoked. So, you know, this is high level episode 1, getting the people back in the groove, is there anything most you're looking forward to, a certain topic, a certain type of guest, or just a season in the future that you want to touch on?
I'm just looking forward to sharing perspective, hearing different perspectives, and continuing to learn and grow, man. Like I feel like throughout, like what y'all saw throughout the first 5 seasons was really us going through relationships, winging it, going through the school of life experience. And every guest that we brought on, like, shared something different that I think helped me to get to the point where I am now and helped me mature. I think us doing this helped me to get to this point where I am now, and us both. So I'm just looking forward to new guests, sharing and learning, man, and hopefully, getting a word out there, man.
Yeah, and for me, I'm so much looking forward to being more transparent, more open, just letting it out.
About time. It would be nice to see that, man, because
listen,
the people's
Linda,
champ.
listen.
That's how I became the people's champ.
Were you the people's champ? Did we take a vote on this?
Listen, the real relate.
Listen, we know who the star of the show is. We ain't really got to trip on that, but no, just opening up, because why not? Like, for me, I'm starting to learn that if you keep stuff in, it's going to always hold you back. Even if it's something, I want to give this person advice.
Yeah.
If I don't give them advice, like, it's just going to linger. Why not? Just like, it's not going to harm me. Realize there is no fear on the other end of what you're not doing.
And I'll re-answer that question. I'm excited to share about the failures that we've had, because that's how you learn. Like, I'm excited to tell people about how many times I've messed up, how many times I've failed, how many times I've, not accomplished something that I wanted to, but just.
It's so crazy. I coached a basketball team for the first time, ages 13 to 15. We had a great season. We literally lost one game. As we know, playoffs, one and done. And to your point, learning from failures. I was just talking with the other coach, shout out to Phil, and we lost the first game in the playoffs. We got a bye, then we lost the first game. We did not make it to the championship. We had the best team, literally not just record, like body, like on stats wise, we had the best team. And we were talking. It was like we could. Me too. Like, we can tell, hey, you need to box out, you need to jump, but we can't tell ourselves, hey, we probably need to take them out if they made more than one mistake, or even though they're the best player on our team, maybe they need to come off the bench and do that. We didn't know that because we were winning. We didn't have to make that adjustment. So we learned so much from that loss that it was like, Dad, we wish we had another game, because we learned how to be better coaches because of that real loss.
Yeah.
So
life is about progress, man. Living with Dan and Danny, you're going to see ours.
Yeah, for sure. This is episode 1, season 6, the Dan and Danny Show, Living with Dan and Danny. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, and we see y'all soon.
Shout out to the patrons.